Good morning, everyone, and thank you for choosing Klaviyo's seminar this morning. You do have headphones on the back of your chairs. Yep. I'm Sandra Quaglia, and I'm one of the customer success managers here at Klaviyo. And today I am joined by Angharad, who is the senior marketing manager at Pasta Evangelists. Angharad, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
For those people who aren't familiar with Pasta Evangelists, please could you tell us a bit more about the brand and a bit more background about yourself?
Yeah, of course. So Pasta Evangelists was founded about 7 years ago by three co-founders. So Alessandro, who is Italian, Chris and Finn. And it was born out of a love of Italian culture. And Alessandro, he moved over to the UK. And he actually was one of the first people who kind of spotted that we do loads of pizza, but actually like high quality fresh pasta wasn't available. And obviously it's delicious. So he saw a bit of a gap in the market. So Pasta Evangelists, yeah, like I said, founded about 7 years ago. And when we were founded, we were predominantly a recipe kit business. So the idea being you could go online, order a kit, it would arrive a few days later and you'd cook it at home in about 5 minutes. That was hugely popular and really boomed during COVID. As you can imagine, everyone was at home and kind of wanted new dining experiences. But post-COVID, we've actually kind of evolved the business a little bit. So we actually, a bigger part of our business is now takeaway. So we have 41 cloud kitchens across the UK. So there's lots in London. We opened in Liverpool 3 weeks ago. We're in Manchester, Brighton, Oxford, and hopefully expanding into Edinburgh, Cardiff, etc. in the next few months. So we're a big takeaway business, which you can get on Deliveroo, Uber Eats, Just Eat, or actually through pastaevangelists.com. That's been a really big project for us this year, launching takeaway ourselves. We also have some pasta academies, which we're very proud of, so where people can come and learn to make fresh pasta, so we share our secrets. They're really great fun. You get unlimited Prosecco if you've not been. I highly recommend. It's a great day out. And we also are the pasta restaurant in Harrods, which is really cool.
Thank you for that. I can attest that it's delicious, that's for sure. And thank you for walking us through your offerings. So I know it's been obviously 7 years, you mentioned, and I know the brand doubled, the revenue doubled from 2021 to 2022, which is very impressive. Something you mentioned was about the co-founder coming from Italy, and for anyone who's subscribed to the brand will know how authentic your marketing feels. It's very Italian, there's the Italian vibe, etc. That's obviously an important part of your brand messaging. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. So it is really important to us. We're very proud to be Italian and British. We call ourselves Britalian, jokingly. But we were bought out by Barilla, which is the world's biggest pasta company. They are founded in the 1800s, I believe, in Italy, and they're headquartered in Parma. So we still have really strong connections to Italy. A lot of our staff are Italian. I sit opposite Emanuele. He tells me my lunch is atrocious every day because he's got something much tastier. But I think for us, we really saw a gap in the market for being that authentic quality Italian brand. So a big part of what we try and evoke in all our marketing is we want everyone to feel like they're in the late afternoon Tuscan sun. So you've just been in the pool, it's really hot, you're about to have your Aperol Spritz, you can feel the sun on your neck, and you can see the rolling hills around you. So that's really what we want to try and evoke in our marketing. And I think we have really leveled up in the last couple of months on our visuals. So you can see our photography through our social channels or on our website, and actually our videography. So that's been really important in how we do it. And I've done quite a lot of work with Klaviyo in terms of premiumizing our email templates to actually really reflect that high quality Italianness in the brand. So it's really important to us, and we try and be educational and evangelize about pasta as our tone of voice.
Thank you for that. I could definitely imagine myself being in Italy right now. So as you were saying, the authenticity and the tone of voice, the brand, that's all very important. The human aspect as well, I know, is something that's very important for Pasta Evangelists. How do you grow and scale and manage to keep that personalization with your customers?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's actually like a challenge we're facing into. I think a lot of brands, everyone is now doing personalization, so it's not something you can just do and think, oh, we're doing really well. Like, customers expect that as a basic these days, so it is really challenging. I think for us, part of it is sticking really rigidly to our tone of voice, so that feels like it's authentically us, so people know that Pasta Evangelists are talking to them. And then in terms of how we've tried to bring in that personalization, Klaviyo have some great features. So obviously we can pull in someone's first name, which is really basic, but it's a really nice welcome, and say ciao Angharad rather than just ciao evangelist on an email. That really helps. But also things like we've used some of the personal, for example, in our reactivation flow. So if someone's been shopping with us and they've lapsed, our first email in our reactivation flow always used to be a promotion, but we've recently, after some A/B tests, switched it to be like it would say ciao Angharad. Do you remember how delicious your last order was? And we dynamically pulled through content with Klaviyo and Shopify, that connection that lets customers remember their last order. And actually we A/B tested that versus £5 off to come back, and that performed better in terms of like open rate, purchase rate. So we try and use that personalization, but it is a real challenge.
We love A/B testing at Klaviyo, that's for sure. Good to hear that you've been using that feature. So I guess that goes into personalization, that goes hand in hand with nurturing your subscribers. And do you have any specific tactics that you've tried that have worked for you, aside from the first name, to convert your subscribers into purchasers?
Yeah, so I think for us, we obviously we have like a address inbox on the website, so you can obviously put in your email address and we say sign up for a delicious offer. We also do a few competitions with other brands, so we partnered with Uni, for example, or Clarence Court, and sort of have run a social media competition where you enter your email address to be in with the chance of winning a really great prize. So with Uni it was a pizza oven and a year's worth of pasta. So for us, capturing those email addresses, when we're then trying to nurture those subscribers into customers, it's really important for us to firstly tell them about the brand. I know that sounds really basic, but actually if you're just entering because you follow Uni, I think it's really helpful for us to tell you a little bit about how important quality produce is to us, and actually that we make authentic Italian dishes. So we always intro people to the brand in that first email and offer a discount. That is really important. Something else we've been trying to do, like I mentioned, we've got 40 cloud kitchens across the UK, so if customers live within 3 miles of that, if we have that postcode, we will target those communications to be offering takeaway. Whereas, for example, my parents live in South Wales, we don't do takeaway there yet. We would give them communication just about the recipe kit boxes. So I think we try and offer people based on what they can get from Pasta Evangelists in their geography as well, so trying to use that to be a bit more relevant.
That makes absolute sense. You mentioned just now the sign-up form, the pop-up, and you said it's important that you provided a discount. On that, how do you balance giving the discounts, giving the incentives while preserving your margins?
I think it's a really interesting challenge, and if anyone has any better answers, please do let me know. But we obviously want to be a premium brand, but discounting we know does work to lure people in. So it has been something we've been facing into quite a bit recently. We're quite lucky with food, it's very seasonal, and we always like to talk about the quality of food. So for example, end of September, mushrooms are in season, so it's quite nice for us there to be able to talk about actually, you should try our filled mushroom ravioli. So we do try and use seasonality to talk to customers about things other than discounts. Also, when we use a discount, we always do it to stretch an average order value. So our target average order value for our takeaway at the moment is £18, and our discounts are once you've spent £20. So it's just trying to stretch those basket size as well to try and help. But it has been really difficult for us to try and pull away from discounts as much. I think one thing that we've seen work quite nicely recently is we are with Mention Me as well, so you can get £10 off when you refer a friend. So actually we've been trying to use discounts to also bring advocates of our brands, because we know people come back time and time again and love the product. So actually, can we give someone a discount by introducing someone new and kind of get someone to evangelize about Pasta Evangelists? So we've been trying to do that recently too.
That's great. Sounds like something you could also A/B test further down the line. So just to kind of shift gear and talk about data, I know that's a big topic recently. You obviously collect a lot of information from people browsing and purchasing through your website. I know you haven't fully realized the full potential that you can with your personalization yet, but how do you envisage using the data to, I guess, target people more specifically?
Yeah, again, another challenge that we're really facing into at the moment. I think probably quite a familiar problem, but having data in different areas is quite common. So we actually use a company called SendGrid to send some of our transactional emails. And actually that harbours our customers' dietary preferences. So actually if someone tells us they're gluten-free or vegan, that sits in a separate communication system. And also for our teams, if you're on a subscription, if you don't tell us what you want, we use that dietary preferences to send you an order. So we won't send nuts to someone who's obviously allergic to nuts. So I think we've got some of this data, but the challenge is actually being able to use it effectively. So at the moment, you'll see sometimes in communications that we send, we'll say have a free dish on us, and we'll have a code for a beef shin ragu, and we'll have a code for a mushroom dish to try and make sure we're covering all databases. So I'd really love if we could get better with that. I think that would be really important. You know, we have got amazing, talented chefs in the business who will say to me, oh, you really love this, why don't not try that? And I think that's quite often what people love about a restaurant experience is you get recommendations off the staff and the waiters. And we want to be that restaurant quality experience at home, but at the moment I think we're just lacking a little bit in being able to use the data effectively to recommend. So, you know, Megan and I, who's our client success manager at Klaviyo, we've spoken a lot about doing Chef Roberta recommends. Chef Roberta's our brand ambassador. She's incredible. And so we'd love to kind of be able to do that a bit more and use kind of personalization a little bit more in that way, but we're just not quite there yet.
Hopefully soon.
Fingers crossed.
I'll let Megan know you've said that, so to hold you accountable. So one thing I wanted to mention, which if any of you are Pasta Evangelists fans, you'll see that you did last year something similar that Spotify did. It was like a wrapped, where it was essentially a consolidation of everyone's orders, which for some could be embarrassing. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
Yeah, of course. I think the end of year in review stuff, a lot of places are doing it now, and I think they're doing it because it's really effective. I know everyone loves sharing this Spotify one. I have seen other places. I know I got one from Trainline telling me I'd saved like £4 that year, and even though that's great, it's maybe not something I want to like really shout about. So I actually think you need to be careful with the year in review. I used to work for Tesco. I remember there was a big conversation, do people want to know they've spent £1,000 on groceries over the course of the year? Maybe not. But I think when it's something like pasta, you've got a bit more permission to be a bit of fun, because it is a treat for most people. So what we did was worked with Klaviyo and our data team. So we did a poll of everyone who'd ordered in the year, some of those who were lapsed customers and some of whom were still actively shopping with us. And we worked out which dish they'd ordered the most. So we could say your favorite dish and how many times you've ordered it. And actually we sent that as an email. So we sent it to about 100k people, which was really great. So we sent it to them and said, for example, mine would have been Angharad, we know your favorite is the carbonara, you've ordered it 6 times this year. But actually it was really fun because we then kind of used those stats at a more macro level. So we could say that we'd made enough pasta to travel the distance from Venice to Verona, and we just kind of made it a bit more fun. We asked people to share it on social media, which they did, which was great. And we also kind of used some of those like higher level stats. So someone had ordered mac and cheese 76 times last year, which, having tried it, it's truffle mac and cheese, it's very rich, it's delicious. I don't know how they ate that more than once a week. So that was kind of fun, and it gave us a bit of permission to sort of talk about the year in a nice way. And with that, we actually gave everyone a thank you £5 just for like having shopped with us that year. And actually that reactivated nearly 2,000 customers. So I think it was that personalised element of being something fun and saying, did you know you've ordered our beef shin ragu 8 times? I think it's just a bit more engaging than a thank you for being our customer in 2022. So definitely something we're looking to do again this year.
Amazing. That's definitely a great way to use your data. So you've definitely started in a good way. Earlier you mentioned the rollout of your takeaway service. Obviously that launched quite recently. What were your marketing objectives around that launch?
Yeah, of course. So I think it's no secret that the aggregators, so like the likes of Deliveroo, Just Eat and Uber Eats, they take quite a big percentage of your sales. It's great for getting your brand out there, and especially in new regions, but actually we know we have a lot of traffic coming to our own website anyway, or people who are aware of the brand. So we wanted to set up takeaway available via pastaevangelists.com, which it is, which is fab. So I guess our marketing objectives were, essentially, we obviously had some sales targets, acquisition targets to reach, but we also wanted to drive brand awareness so that people knew that they could order takeaway via pastaevangelists.com. So those were the kind of the main marketing objectives. We launched in January, and we had about 20 kitchens then, and we now have 40 kitchens, so we're available in 40 different locations across the UK, which is great.
That's fantastic. On that kind of launch, can you tell us a bit more about the launch campaign and the kinds of messaging you use, the tactic? What was the thought process behind that?
Yeah, so I guess when we launched, obviously we had a few different sets of customers in mind. So there were people who had never heard about Pasta Evangelists. So actually, how do you get the word out to them? So for that, we did quite a lot of like hyper-localized out of home. So worked with companies to sort of buy within the 3-mile radius of a new kitchen. We just did this in Liverpool, for example. Made sure we were buying media like on the street, on bus stops in those areas. We also work with influencers in those areas, so we try and reach out to the food bloggers in those areas, offer them to try us for free, and then also share a discount code with their followers. That's been really effective. So that was for people who don't know the brand. For us, luckily, we've got a database of people who do know the brand. So actually using Klaviyo, I'll go in and create a segmentation, which will be, Pasta Evangelists Liverpool. We opened there 3 weeks ago. I could then, thanks to the targeting, say anyone who is within 3 miles of this postcode, we want to send this email to, promoting it. So I think our first communications is very founder-led. So we are still only 6 years old. And so we actually start with our founder, Alessandro, and it's a message saying, we know you love Pasta Evangelists. We're here to tell you you can try us in a new way, so you can get us hot straight to your door rather than waiting 2 days to get us through the post and cook it yourself. So we did a lot of founder-led messaging, and we've also been like testing different acquisition discounts. So some of it's like spend £15, get a free dish. So that would be like get a free tiramisu or some focaccia. And then we've also done sort of just straight discounts, which is kind of like £10 off when you spend £20. So we're still sort of A/B testing those.
That's great. And were you kind of touched on that, but if you could expand on, were you targeting a completely new audience, or were you trying to also focus your attention on your existing customers that had previously purchased the recipe kit, for example?
Yeah, a bit of both. So obviously we are still wanting to get brand awareness. We've got really good brand awareness in London, but I think outside of the capital it's less well known. I think in terms of the database of customers we did have, we would make sure that anyone who was still actively buying our recipe kits, we probably would leave them on that proposition, so suppress them from our emails. But someone who had bought Pasta Evangelists in Liverpool recently but hasn't purchased in a while, we'd make sure we were actually talking to them about the takeaway and did you know you can get us in a new format now. So kind of did it in that sense.
Great. And I think I know the answer, but I think everyone's thinking the same thing. Was the campaign launch a success?
Yeah, it's been a real success. We're still learning with it, and we're opening another 8 sites by the end of the year, so we need to make sure we're kind of nailing it. But we've grown from having no orders in January to last month we did just over 8,000 on takeaway, which is amazing. So we're really proud of the growth. We still feel like we have a little bit of a way to go in terms of just driving our retention rate and our repeat purchases. We know the food is great, but we just want to make sure how we're getting to people to come back. And obviously just some teething problems with new kitchens. So there's still a way to go, but we're really pleased with how the business has progressed.
Fantastic. Just on the teething problems, how has your strategy since the launch evolved? Like, what have you found that maybe needed tweaking or changing?
Yeah, I think we spotted a really good opportunity with lunchtime trade. So we have these kitchens that are open from 11 a.m. and we actually saw that they weren't necessarily being utilised. And obviously we have staff in there ready. They're preparing for the day, but they're also there ready to serve customers. So we spotted an opportunity for a lunchtime proposition. So it's called Lunch Like an Italian. It's a slightly cheaper set of products. We also, over the summer, much to many of the Italians upset in the office, pasta salads are really popular with Brits. So actually we created a range of pasta salads that sold pretty well throughout the summer, and we're really pleased about that. And also I think what we're trying to do is give people a reason to shop with pastaevangelists.com, not just through Deliveroo. So we launched probably about 2 months ago now, half and half, which is where you can get 2 pasta dishes for the price of 1, but half portions. So actually you don't have to decide if you want basil pesto or you want spicy andouille. I know you were talking about that earlier. You can actually have both in this portion, which is half and half. So that's been a real game changer. So we are constantly looking to evolve the proposition and also keep something unique through pastaevangelists.com. So that's kind of where we're at with that at the minute.
Amazing. And just to confirm, so the half and half is only available on pastaevangelists.com?
Yeah, only available through pastaevangelists.com, and it's already become our 3rd bestseller. So it's obviously fulfilling a need, but that was great because we actually got that idea through a customer survey we put out on Instagram. So did some polls, and that came out top every time with what customers would want. So just made sure we listened to the feedback and developed the proposition that way.
Amazing. I do hear that a lot, that listening to the customers and what they want is really, really important. So looking ahead in Q4, I know you're not a typical e-commerce business. What's the plan leading up to Christmas for Pasta Evangelists?
Yeah, we're actually really lucky. So I think probably as all of you can realise and attest to, I think people are much more keen for a warming bowl of ragu or a lasagna in the colder months. So seasonally, we're very lucky. We do just see an uptick in Q4 of people wanting Pasta Evangelists. So for recipe kits and the takeaway business, it's kind of promoting seasonality. So actually what's coming into season. And making sure we're pushing those. We're also launching, we have a gifting range that we don't really push apart from in Q4. So that is actually pasta making kits, so you can make it from scratch at home yourself, and also a range of tools like ravioli cutters. So that's a big promotion for us around kind of Black Friday and Christmas. But we're also trying to do a bit more of like a deli on site as well for like stock items that you can purchase. So we're doing a range of truffle products that are coming out in a few weeks, which is really exciting. Everyone loves truffle at the moment, so making sure we're promoting truffle. And also, I guess, for our academy, it's very popular with corporate classes. So actually teams do team building days at the academy. So actually for the events, it's actually running into a really, really busy time. So when we're doing our CRM, we always have to weigh up how much airtime we're giving to each of our different channels, like proportionately, but events are really big at the moment. So we've got a series of events with Craft Gin Club for Halloween, where they're making gin cocktails and you're learning how to make pasta, and a few other things in the run up to Christmas. So it's just kind of balancing all that, but yeah, definitely a busy time.
You're going to have your hands full in the next couple months. And what about for the next year, 2024? What does that look like for Pasta Evangelists? You've obviously expanded your offerings, opened a new site. You're still going to open more, you said. I'd be interested to hear, what's next?
I think for us, this year we've been on a bit of a journey of premiumization. So like I said, really updating our imagery. So we really look like a premium pasta brand. So it's kind of following on from that, really kind of making sure that premiumization carries through to emails. I think we're in a better place, but we've still got some work to do to make sure they're looking excellent and more high end. So we want to do that. So that, and then personalisation, we still want to really continue that journey of personalisation. We have the data, it's just about how we connect it to being in the right places and also get it into a usable format to import into Klaviyo. So that's really high on the agenda. And then I guess at a business level, it's just keep growing the business. So it's really good to see the takeaway side of businesses booming. That's brilliant. The academy is really growing amazingly. The Harrods restaurant is reopening in the start of October. It's been closed for a revamp. So still kind of continuing with what we're doing, but the ambition is to be the UK's leading fresh pasta brand, so kind of eyes on that still.
Looks like you're on your way, which is great. Shameless plug, but a quick question on what's your favorite thing about Klaviyo that you've been using?
That is a really good question. I like the shameless plug too. I think for me, it's the ease of being able to build out different segments. So it's really quick for me to, if someone says, we're looking at opening a new site in Edinburgh, for example, can you tell me how many customers we've got in 10 miles of this radius? We're quite quickly able to pull that data, which is great. So that's been really helpful. And I think it's a really easy platform to use. I would say my favorite tool, though, is the dynamic blocks that you can pull through. So like I'd mentioned previously, we've got a your last order email, which dynamically pulls through your content. And I think it just feels so much more relevant and personal to a customer to say, hey, did you miss us? This was your last order. Come back again and try it. So that's been really helpful. So it's so easy to do. You just drag and drop, make sure everything's tweaked and in the right way. But it's really great. So probably that.
Thank you for the answer and for explaining how it works so everyone understands. Thank you so much. I think we're done unless there's anything you want to add.
No, I think that's it. But thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Thank you, everyone. We do have happy hour at the Klaviyo stand at 4 p.m. today, so please come and join. Thank you.
Thank you.